We're here. So most of the time, by the way, guys, you see how he's she's like a devil. So most of the time when you start ZBrush, you will see her like this because you haven't applied any material. So let's go to materials and find, so here in this red thing, and find the basic material and click it. And now basic material. So basic material, I think it's, for me, I like to sculpt with this material. So you just go here and change it, because by default it is matte cap red wax. This is the default material. So we go to basic material and it will be fine. So what we like to do is just a little bit more customization, just a little bit, I promise. So now we go to enable customize, and you probably notice how my buttons and everything is a bit smaller now, because I restarted ZBrush after I went to preferences, interface, and decreased the button size to the minimum, which is 38. And then when I restarted ZBrush, it's like this now. So what I like to do else just a little bit is first go to palettes in the interface again, and one open subpalette, disable it, because I would like to have subtools open, I would like to have geometry open too. If one open subtool palette by default is on, you cannot have two open subpalettes. You can have one, and when you open the other one, the first one closes, which I don't like. What else? What else? Yeah, there's more. So we have to kind of put few materials in here, just 3 materials, just to have them. So first we'll go to open this by double clicking here. You see, double clicking on this, and we're here. Close the brush and go to material from the top in here. Material, then drag this and put it under the brush, and then we have material. And now you have those materials that you have chosen already, so this matte cap wax and the basic material, and we will enable customize, drag the basic material in here and drop it, and we'll have it here. Then we'll go to our material here and find the toy plastic material, pretty good for eyes, and just take it, we click on it, and now we take it from here and put it here. Don't worry that our model is like this now. And then the other material that we want to take is probably metal material. It will be nice. So let's go to this big thing and then find metal here in the bottom part. You know, the materials, so standard materials, those materials are materials with certain settings. We can change them and everything. So metal materials, for example, have the metalness, have also the glossiness, or specular a little bit up, and now it's metal. So we just click it and then take it from here and drop it in here. Metal material, it's okay. Now we go back to our basic material. The other materials are, the top materials are matte cap materials, those here. They are absolutely preset materials. There is not too much that we can change on them. The gold material is nice, by the way. I use it all the time. But those materials we cannot, they are not affected by the light in ZBrush. In ZBrush we have a light. Yeah, it's normal, and the light is here in the light menu. And we can even move it, you see? I'm just moving this kind of orange dot on this sphere, but if I click on it, just click on it, it goes back, behind. And now we have a rim light. But if I click on it again, it goes in front. And we can add more lights by double clicking on them. Double click, a lot of lights. But we don't need them, of course. Just double click on them again to disable them. First click is to select the light, and second click is to disable or enable it. And then we go back to our first light to select it, and it's okay. So now disable customize store config, okay. Now we have to start doing our character. You can use, for example, if you already have used the PureRef application. PureRef is application which is pure ref, like pure reference. PureRef is free application. You can use it. You can dock it on top, always on top, and put it here to have your our concept. But I do a little bit different things. So from here, how to start a new kind of a project, a new mesh, a new thing without going through Lightbox and changing the whole project. I, for example, want to save this head to be here, and I want to start our new project as a new tool in here. So what I do, let me show you. I disable Lightbox or just close it, and I go to this star, always on the star. I click on the star, and now we are on the star. This is a new tool. Now we go to append. Down here in the subtool menu, we go to append and click on sphere, and now we have a sphere. And now we are on the star here, and we delete the star. We don't need it, so we press delete. This is how you delete subtools, by the way. You have the subtool selected, you're on the subtool, and you press delete to delete it. But I don't want to delete the sphere, so now I have the sphere. Very nice, I like it. It's a little bit kind of too bright for my taste. Let me just change the light, put it a bit more upward like this, probably. Yeah. So we can also change the color to a bit darker value. Yes. I just change here to a bit darker than white. The white is too bright for me. So now we can start, but we don't have symmetry. So press X to have symmetry. In the beginning you will not have symmetry if you do it like I showed you. We went to the star, and now the star is, again, it's there. Because we can always add more and more tools and make more characters in the same kind of a project in Zbrush, which is kind of useful. So I press X to start, and now I can start sculpting, but I will not. What I want to do, I will want to put my concept in here. How to put it in here? How I do it? I do it from the texture menu. I go to import, and then I find my concept. So this is the original concept from Frank de Molière, and this is the concept that I cut a little bit in Photoshop. So I will open this. I cut it because I don't want it to take too much space in here. So, and now what happens? I selected it and nothing happens. You go to texture window again, and you see it here as a very tiny thumbnail. You click on it, so it's bigger thumbnail in here. You don't click on the bigger one. You click on it just to select it, and then you click add to spotlight button, which is this one. Not this one, turn on spotlight, not, just add to spotlight. And now it will be here. So now inevitably I should tell you more about the spotlight. The spotlight function in Zbrush, it allows you to project, for example, you want to make a skin. You take a skin on your character. You take a skin photograph, for example, you put it like this in Zbrush, and then you can draw with this. Let me show you. We can go to press Z and then go to alpha. You have to go to a brush which is RGB on only, and you just start drawing, and you see how everything in here is projected in the back. You see, those are the teeth and everything. So this is kind of the way to project some things. It's very important. It's very easy. I mean, we do it all the time, but now we don't want this. Now I will Control Z. Yes. Now what we want is, yeah, I Control Z it too many times. Shift Z, Control Z doesn't work. So let's go to texture again. Click on it. Add to spotlight. So what Shift Z and Z do? So Shift Z is hiding our spotlight. It's there, but it's hidden. Shift Z again will show it. So Shift Z, Shift Z. You see the shortcuts here. Shift Z, Shift Z, or Z. Z, Z, whatever. So hides and show the spotlight. The spotlight controls, which allows us to shrink the image, to make it bigger, to rotate it, to make it whatever, with Z, just Z. And they show. And with Z, they hide. Show them, and then we can move the image. How? Wherever you click, the control will go there. And then you can move from within the control. If you want to move the control itself, you can drag this inner orange circle just inside it, and you can drag it. But outside it, you just move the whole thing. So you will need only to know this, the scale here, the scale. So click on it and start to rotate the circle. And voila! Because the artist is French, that's why I say voila. Now, this has a little bit of a transparency. We can kind of dial it up or down from the opacity, and I want it to be fully transparent for now. So the opacity here will be, so whenever you kind of hover over those things, you will see their names. They are very tiny here and I barely see them even. But let me just put it here and try, yeah, scale, rotate, paint, intensity, saturation, contrast, smudge, clone. We don't use those. We use mostly opacity to have it down or up, and the scale. And rotation sometimes, but not too much. So now I want to hide those controls. Now again, super important message. If you want to start working and your spotlight is here, the only brush that will work now is the move brush. So you will start doing this, and let me fill this with some color, yes, like this. Just fill object. We'll start working, and suddenly when we choose our standard brush and try to do something, it doesn't work. And you say, my brushes are not working. And you write in the internet, my brushes are not working. Nobody will know why. I will tell you. When we put the spotlight here, we have to go to brush, samples, spotlight projection, and turn it off. When we turn it off, magically everything will work again. The spotlight needs this to turn it off. I mean, if you turn it on, you can project the spotlight to your mesh, which if you need it, it will be okay. But if you need it only for a concept, just to watch it like we do, we have to turn it off. So it's in brush menu, samples, which is the fourth option, create curve depth samples, and then the bottom, the most bottom thing, spotlight projection, we turn it off. In my interface, I even gone to a greater distance and I took this and put it here, just customize it and put it here, which you can do. But for now, we can start with this sphere. Let's Control Z to make it spherical again. Okay, now it's a complete sphere, and I will fill it with this gray color, and we can start. It's not a complete sphere, but it's almost. So now we have to start. I start, obviously, or most of the time I start from the head. So we can notice the head is not exactly a sphere, but it's a little bit spread out sphere. So with the big move brush, we can kind of make it like this. Of course, everything is changeable, so we don't need to worry too much about this. So now we need to make some nose. Let's kind of see. The nose will come from the middle, so it will come. I will mask this area here. Make sure you have symmetry. So the nose will come from this area and will go up and away. So invert the mask with Control dragging. I made the mask. Then Control clicking outside the object. I invert the mask. Then with my pivot W, I will just push this onward like this. And this will be our nose. Of course, it's not exactly, but it will be later. So now the polygons are pretty stretched, so we need Dynamesh. Dynamesh is something that we will need probably a lot. So I suggest we go to Enable Customize. Take the Dynamesh from the Geometry menu, in the Tool menu, Geometry, find Dynamesh, open it, then Control-Alt with Enable Customize enabled, Control-Alt drag Dynamesh here, and Control-Alt drag the resolution slider also here. And that's all you need from the Dynamesh. You close it, you don't need it anymore. Now we just dial down the resolution to 56 or around that and click Dynamesh. And now it's Dynameshed. And if we want this to be sharper, we just smooth it. If it has low enough resolution, it will smooth and be smaller. Now, with the big move brush, from a bit of a distance, we can do this and make the nose. You see? I'm with the move brush, I'm just moving. I'm kind of going from the below to make it more sharp. And this is how we do it. This is kind of the thing. This will be the nose. Okay. So, clay tubes brush I selected, and then start making the smile. You see, I'm just kind of making the borders of the smile, this smile in here. And of course, if I make it wrong, I can then go with my move brush and do it better. It's not a problem. And then with my standard brush, I will dig it in. I will dig this in, so we have kind of the mouth cavity. And in the beginning it will look pretty odd, because when we don't have the teeth, this will look pretty odd, of course. But my Dynamesh is kind of selected. Now I can control drag to apply the Dynamesh and continue working without my polygons to be too stretched. Very nice. So, teeth. We have to do teeth also. Difficult, I know. But it's not that difficult, you will see. So, let's just make the form of the mouth a bit nicer. Now it looks like Woody the Woodpecker a little bit, but it's kind of normal. Let's kind of place with the Clay Tubes brush, which is our brush number 2 on the keyboard, place some eyes, and then with the big move brush I can flatten the whole thing a bit. But of course, when I put the ears, when I put the nose and everything and the teeth, I can kind of adjust the form to my liking. But let's put the ears now. So where are the ears? They start, at least this one, the innermost ear, start a little bit under this line of the mouth in here. The mouth is maybe a little bit more up than we have done it, so to have a bigger smile like this. And then behind it, what I will do for now is this, just a mask like this. And then invert the mask, and then with the big move brush I go 4 with the big move brush and then just drag it out. So what I did again, mask it with a small brush, whatever brush, maybe the move brush, but control drag to make a mask, then control click outside the object to invert the mask. Then with the big move brush I go a little bit away from the object and just make this, just a form outside. And then of course we can smooth it and it will become something like an ear. You see, it's pretty easy. Now I disable the mask and then smooth this, then maybe Dynamesh it with control dragging outside the object, and then with my move brush I will try to kind of make it look like this. And it's kind of strange that this part is the outer part of the ear, but it's here. I don't know, let's kind of make it. Maybe this also can be more inward in here. And then with the dumb standard brush I can go and drag in here. You see, this is organic modeling. I'm telling you which brush. For example, when I want to kind of make the outline of something, I go to my dumb standard brush with 7 and I dig it with Alt, or as I told you, in the by default it's without Alt you're digging or knifing. And then I don't need this to be that curvy, so I will go with my move brush and try to fix it, then smooth. I always smooth when I'm not sure about something. And if I have very thin geometry, by the way, you can kind of have very thin geometry here. Don't do this. Go to inflate brush and inflate it, because when it's very thin, let's deflate it to show you. So I will deflate it and now it's pretty thin. Now when I Dynamesh, sometimes it happens this way, but it's not a problem. Now, even if it happens, you don't need to go Control Z and fix something. You just need to inflate here a lot to have more meat and then Dynamesh. And then it's okay, then smooth with the shift and everything will be fine. So be careful about those things. So let's see now. We have the nose, we have the ear. The ear could be bigger, of course, because this character is cute and it relies on big ears, big nose, big teeth, kind of a big things. And the ears, of course, are one of the biggest things and the best, you see. So we have this kind of a flow from the nose to the mouth and down. And probably this, we will pull this with the move brush more inward, but I'm not sure yet because we don't have teeth. And maybe it's time to make some teeth, just to see what happens. or the nose here, but they will be separate objects. So let's go to our subtool. We are dragging here on the side, not on the menu itself, but just on the border here to just go up and down. You see? So now I will go here and append, and the teeth are looking more like a cube. So I'll go to append the cube, and this is our teeth. No, just one teeth, just one tooth. So I'll go to this tooth. By the way, perspective is pretty big. Let's go to draw and make it 85, not 50. Yeah, go to draw and just here where the camera is, just 85. And now this, I will go to my pivot with W. I make sure to not be on the head, but to alt click on this square or cube, and then W, and with the yellow rectangle in the middle, I make it smaller. Then I move it to see it away from the head, smash it with the blue handle here, the blue rectangle handle, and make it small as probably one of his teeth. And I can make it a bit bigger because part of this will be dug inside his mouth. And now I can smooth it. And now you will see one of the wonders of ZBrush, which is, let me just make it a bit thicker. Okay. So this will be one of our teeth. And so if we dynamesh this, and if we dynamesh this at the same resolution as this, 56 for example, dynamesh, it will be very low. You see, it's pretty low. We need it to be higher resolution because it's a smaller object. Smaller objects needs to have higher resolution to have kind of a good density of their polygons. If now dynamesh is not working, you just have to click a little bit on the object just to move it just tiny bit, just to reset it, and then dynamesh it, and now it's working. Now this, I think it's okay. And now we have to kind of move a lot the object and place it. So I will rotate it. You see how now it's here. Now I will go above it, and with the green circle I can rotate it, and then I can move it with this, or I can move it with this. But I prefer to move it with those kind of angular things here, because they are moving according to the screen, which is pretty nice. I like it. So I will rotate, place it whatever I want, make it even smaller maybe, put it here. Maybe we can start from the center to teeth. So let's place it in the middle, around the middle. And now probably we'll need to, we don't place it exactly in the middle. We place it a little bit on the side, because now when we mirror it, we don't need them to be one on top of the other. So what I will do is go to Z plugin. What was this? Subtool master, and then mirror. And this I will need a lot, so I need to take it away. So I enable customize. I go to Z plugin. I go to Subtool master, open it, and then Control Alt, drag mirror in here, and drop it. And nothing happened because I didn't drop it exactly where I have to. So I do it again, Control Alt, drag, and put it in here. And it again didn't happen. I don't know why. And I'm starting to get a little bit upset. So I go to Z plugin, mirror, and drag it here. Now it's happening. Let's drag it here now. Maybe here I cannot drag it. I can drag it only here. Who knows? But it's okay. So disable customize, store config, okay. And now we just press mirror while we're on the tooth. Make sure we are on x-axis, because this is what we need. The z-axis no. X-axis, which is by default, and then we press OK. This means it will merge into one subtool, not append as new, we don't need it, and on x-axis, yes. And now we have two front teeth. It looks exactly like the Woody the Woodpecker, but without ears, whatever. We don't care about that. So now we need to turn on symmetry with X on the keyboard, and then press W for a pivot, and just move the pivot a bit on the side with Alt, and the X is not pressed. Okay, I will press it, and now we can move it closer. Don't touch them. Just move them closer together. If you touch them, yeah, you can touch them. Sometimes when two Dynameshes are touched, they combine. And this is, for example, the ears. If I go ahead and select the head and then touch the ears, they will not combine. Yeah, sometimes they combine. So I'm pretty careful with that, because sometimes when they touch, and even without dropping the mouse, you try to separate them and they are already like combining and stretching geometry. It's a very bad thing. So the teeth are here. So what we have to do in order to move the pivot, for example, we are on the teeth and we want to move the pivot because it's here, for example. It's no, let's go to the teeth with alt click, and the pivot is somewhere here, for example, and we want to move it on the object, not the pivot, but the, yeah, this thing, the gizmo. I always say pivot, so don't mind me. Now we are on our gizmo, so we are on moving here, and we need to move it here. Alt click on the object and it will come exactly in your alt click. And now we can control, very important, control drag to just copy the current object into the same subtool. The other one is masked, so now we can just work on this one. Pretty cool. This is pretty cool. So those are some of the teeth, obviously. They look pretty hideous, but whatever. Yeah. So next, when we are happy with this, from the bottom view we will adjust it and put it in place and rotate it to see where it is. Where we are happy, we control drag again. And then rotate, put it wherever. Maybe from here we can put it a little bit more up. And then control drag again. He has a lot of teeth, by the way, you can see. And then we are kind of happy with the overall look of our teeth. We disable the mask by control dragging outside the object, and then we can of course go and just move a little bit, just play with this by just the move brush, and we can go separately in each teeth with move topological brush, which I told you we can use, because with the normal move brush, if we get it with the big move brush, we are moving everything. But with topology brush, move topology brush, we are moving only where the center of our brush is, the object that is in the center of our brush. So this, for example, we can make it a vampire thing, and you see it's working. So Control Z to not be a vampire, and it's okay. With this we'll finish this video. I will continue in the next one with the bottom teeth, and we'll start probably the mask and the eyebrows and the nose. We'll see where we will go, but for now it's over, and yeah, see you in the next video, of course.